We've had learners who are actually like, I feel therapy is useless because why would I go to therapy? They're not going to make my problems vanish, right?
Very few psychiatrists, very few psychologists. So that's also an issue that we have on our hands in South Africa.
The environment itself does not really cater for someone who wants to be successful in life. So that's where the main problem is.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Tutula Singata from #Keready. I'm just coming in to join this conversation that we're having about mental health. We're going to carry on with the discussion. I have our guests, Ntokozo and Osismata, our communicator from Keready. How I know them is I actually went to Palmridge Secondary School to give a talk on mental health. How to deal with mental health to the learners of Palmridge Secondary after the incident that Usas Mata has spoken about. So I think one of the things that I want to find out then is, was the intervention effective? How did the learners receive it? And what more we could do? Because, it's pointless to actually do something without knowing if it's actually effective. Dogozo, can you tell me about the reception, of the talks that we gave? Because I know I went, then Dr. James went. What were the learners saying? What would they like to change? And what are your opinions about it?
Right. So they did come up Palmridge Secondary School, and you guys really gave a mouthful, and they were very educational. That I really love about it, and the fact that you guys coming, you actually forced, and that you came to the matrix, right? So you actually kind of forced us to introspect and view things different from how we actually viewed them regarding mental health and stuff like that. But I'm really going to be quite honest with how learners actually receive that, right? So we've had learners who are actually like, I feel therapy is useless because why would I go to therapy? They're not going to make my problems vanish, right? So I feel like as much as we are educating on mental health and stuff like that, you also need to emphasize on the fact that you going to attend therapy or you being aware of that, okay, I have an issue with this, you also need to understand that going to therapy is not going to make your problems disappear. So therapy is not there to make your problem disappear. It's not a miracle. Therapy is only going to help somebody who wants to be helped. You can't go there with, oh well, she's not going to help me. She's not going to. That's that. Therapy is meant to help you reflect on yourself and be able to say what you feel and actually vocalize. And I feel like it really helps you be able with what you actually feel. So that's what you also need to teach learners, that you're not there to attend therapy to make problems disappear. That's not the point. You're missing the point if you go there for that. It's absurd. Like, it's really absurd from my view.
Thank you so much. So you know what I'm reminded of as she's talking, it's the accessibility of mental health care, health services to people in South Africa. If we look at the public healthcare system, or rather state services, there's very few psychiatrists, very few psychologists. So that's also an issue that we have on our hands in South Africa. And unfortunately, it's still not a problem that just one person can solve. And I think it's great to say go for therapy and whatnot, but we also have to consider the South African context, whether or not the person will actually be able to access the services. I'm just gonna come to you, Dokozo.
Yes.
What was your experience? Do you feel like our intervention was helpful? What more would you advise? Do you feel like it should be an ongoing thing, just from your experience?
So the first time when you guys came, for me, I felt like it's something that these kids need. And going to Palmridge, even for me, seeing like it's a diverse kind of environment, right? We have Indians, we have blacks, we have coloreds. So obviously all those people come from different backgrounds attending one school, and it's a non-fee paying school. So everybody's different. Everybody has their own like kind of problems when they go back home. But also coming there and them being taught something that they've never really thought about, it really made a difference. Even I could see some of the kids, because kids did come back to me to say that this actually did help. Not only just how with your expertise and how you were doing things, but also a young black female doctor. Literally, it was more about that, because the problem with these children, what causes also mental health, is way too from here.
Okay.
I am told that my parents don't have money. Do I qualify to go to varsity? Do I qualify to be something? So when they saw you, a young black doctor, like for them, they never thought there was actually such. Because when they go back home, it's either a mom is also a drunk with too many kids, no job, the environment itself does not really cater for someone who wants to be successful in life. So that's where the main problem is. But when they see people succeeding in life, it really made a difference. I have one learner who, Osnetemba, she ended up speaking to you and then she didn't want you to go. It was, I even had to say, Netemba Pela, let her go, she's like, I know that I've been working hard, but I've been working hard for the wrong reasons. I always wanted to make my mom proud. But now seeing Dr. Tutula, like I think third term, she was positioned like 5 or 6, top 10. And she's like, but now I have someone to look up to, I have something to, like there's a reason why I am always working so hard, because she was really frustrated. And she was even asking you questions like, from here, where do I go? But what if bosses is not for me? What if bosses, and speaking to you really calmed it down. So you have made a difference, not only by professional, but then also you personally and how you were. She's like, and she's so cool. You wouldn't even say she's a doctor, she's so nice. So I thank you for that. I really thank you for that.
Wow.
Thank you so much. That's really amazing. It's really amazing to hear that the work we do, actually makes an impact. But one of the things that came up both from Dogozo and Dogozo's responses is the fact that we can't take away the fact that some of the things that contribute to people's mental health problems a lot of the times are social circumstances, right? And I'm fortunate enough that Mother, our Keready communicator, is actually a social worker. So I just want to ask this question, just what do you think what do you think we can actually do, or do you think there's a way that we can actually support these people with the resources that we have, because we don't have that many resources? How can we support a child going to Palmbridge who maybe has an abusive mother, or who lives in a child-headed home? What's the little that we can do with the resources that we have? I think it would also be great to touch on the time where we actually followed up on a parent of one of the children at school, because we've actually done that, and that's quite remarkable.
Into aqeda ukuyisho udoctor, into engibonayo ukuthi kumele yenziwe ebantwaneni around the community as a social worker, and each and every day I go to school. I think for primary school, what should be done, ukubiza abazali, and now we still have problem nabazali because parents, they say that they don't attend when they call them. I was lucky, August, the month of a woman. I was actually talking to many women around the South too about mental health and how to take care of their kids, because their kids get affected because of their parents' behavior. And then when we start 2024, my plan is to go to Guma Secondary School. My plan is to go to grade 8 and 9 to talk to them about sexuality education and peer pressure, because it will be their first time to go to their high school. The experiences there, when they went to toilet, they will find some smoking. You understand? I think when we start the year as a hashtag ready, we need to target the grade 8 learners and those who are going to grade 7. For sexuality education. Sexuality education is when the learner, the young learners from the age of 9, but must know well their body so that they can limit even gender-based violence, not especially for the girls, both girls and boys. Yes, it's my target. I think I will be more focused on sexuality education in a primary. I will target grade 5 and 6 and 7, and in a high school, my target will grade 8 and 9. Grade 8 especially, because it's their first time. You know that little boy, when you went to toilet, find that old man awuthatha ugwayi nawe uzame. Niya understand that those bullying, that pressure. So I think my focus for another case, I think we can focus on that.
Okay.
Yes.
I really love that. Thank you so much for that. I just want to go back to you, Sis Dogozo. I
Yes.
think in the initial segment you touched a bit on how parents receive information about mental health better, sometimes not from a doctor but from someone else. How do you feel we could bridge that gap? Because I do feel like we also need to learn then that the ability to have that conversation in a way that's not intimidating, in a way that's not threatening, especially because the conversation of parents has come up quite a lot in the first segment. I'm going to come to you, Ndokozo, about that if you'd like to add as well. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with me, I feel like, especially ekasine, there's this thing where they are their own doctors, to be honest, and it's been there for a very long time. Where umntana oshile, hayi thatha iqanda, yabo, uye ekliniki, wayasebenzisa iqanda. It's like it's just two conflicting worlds, right? And obviously, you're not gonna go back home and tell your mom, how dokotela uthi. You also need to be a certain way and a certain place on how you say it, because it's like now we are degrader. I don't know why people always feel embarrassed when they know that this is not your profession. So when it comes to parents, not just only mothers but also fathers who are there for their kids, I feel like people need to understand each other personalities at home. If you know that you have a child who's not an A student in schooling but they are good in sports, which I've been doing a lot of when it comes to that, have a certain way to say that to your children. I know what you're studying sports, but nesikole sibalulekile so that you can go somewhere in life. Don't be like, angifune ball. That's where you miss the point.
Yeah.
When it comes to your children, that's where now the child will feel like, oh mama akafuni ngenze nix, so what's the point? Namanje umama uthi-ke angiye esikoleni and do well in school, but abazi nokuthi ngiyastrugglisha esikoleni and they are not meeting me halfway. So when it comes to parents, and they should, you've been there for your child from birth, right? It should be the same routine, to say that, doctor, now umntana ukasona, how do I now? Don't be like, just because you gave birth to your child, ngikwazi kangcono than any. No, it's not like that. And that's where the abuse comes from, actually, because you want your child to live a certain way. You want your child to literally live how you wanted to live, So, because there are parents who go as further as, yes, ngabe ngifundile, ngabe ngiyasebenza, but ngathola wena and I had to sit down. It literally goes back to now you mentally abusing the child, because now you are saying things that it's not even part of them. It's not their problem, honestly. And I've also told children, ukuthi-ke, you need to understand there is a problem okuyinkinga yakho, and then there is a problem okuyinkinga yabazali. Musungene indaba zabantu, because that's where you create problems for yourself. That's where you create an environment that does not have peace for you. As a school child, make sure what comes first is education for it. And then whatever is happening at home, ukuthi maybe anina kudla, maybe awunayicathulo or whatever, that should come after, because now with this education what you're gonna get out of it. And recently, when I was also just doing my notes, I realized, you know what, honestly speaking, it doesn't matter how poor you are or how rich you are. There is one thing that people don't understand, because they are busy looking at other people. We all actually are given the same opportunity when it comes to education. It doesn't matter if you go to a private school or a non-fee paying school, education in fun. And I always tell kids from Mama Township schools, Yazi, most people who become doctors, they have a background in rural place. Most people become doctors. People from townships have this mentality yokuthi bona bahlakaniphile streetwise. But that's where it's for some of them, not all of them, but for some of them, that's where it ends. But those people who actually end up going to Cuba, whatever, to become doctors are from rural places. And rural places have what? You get taught discipline. And that's what township kids, some of them don't have. Some kids, and they don't know how to humble themselves. They don't know how to listen to Mtomdan. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying, Wutige, we can blame parents, but I also blame kids. Because khona abantwana abademandayo mara bayibona inhlonipho for themselves. Abakwazi ukuhlonipha umuntu omdala. And abakwazi ukuhlonipha ukuthi-ke, just because angisumamakho, you know, you're gonna treat me a certain way. Some kids don't listen, like at all. Ungangitsheni, awazi impilo yami, awusumamami. So those kind of things are the things that really affect abantwana. But at the same time, as a doctor or as communities, we need to find a plan, Vele, to make sure that people come together as one. But it's gonna be a difficult one. It's not gonna be easy.
And to contradict a bit from what Madam Togozo said, Madam Togozo is saying that as learners at school, there are problems that are yours and problems that have nothing to do with you. So now what do you do when you live in a home where every day you see your parents fighting? You cannot not say, this is not my problem, so I'm not going to involve. It is bound to affect you. It is bound to definitely eat you up because you are seeing it. You cannot not go to school knowing that at home there's no maize meal. It is bound to stress you. So you can't just switch off and say, it's not going to affect me because there's nothing to do with me. That is not possible. And also with coming to what youngsters respecting adults. Some adults don't respect youngsters at all because I have this thing of, I'm the elder one, so you should respect me first. But are you respecting me? I mean, I do understand that as a young person, you need to go down and respect your elders. But I feel like respect is earned. It needs to go two ways. You can't be like really be abusing me or having old or saying old things. Then I have to say, oh, she's an elder. It's okay. I'll let it breathe. At times, youngsters are really poked, and when they react, we are being disrespectful. But I'm not condoning being disrespectful, but I'm just trying to look at both sides.
In terms of what I just said, sorry, but what I was saying is not that sorry, must be cut. Must be cut. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Just close up the conversation.
Yeah.
Just following from her comments.
From her comments.
Okay. So let her finish and then you close it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I need to have like something to say. Okay. What I was actually trying to say, I'm not saying, like I said, it's not all kids. When I was talking about when I say some kids don't have inhlonipho, it was in terms of there was one teacher. She told the learner that I'm not going to give you extra paper. It was during an exam. I'm not going to give you an extra paper because you're not done with the paper that you're using. The child took a pencil case, hit the teacher on the face. I'm talking in terms of those things that, you know, there are certain levels when it comes to respect. There are certain levels where a child is also wrong, an adult is also wrong. You know, when I say also with parents, I'm talking about those kids who will be like, yeah, no, mamami, yeah, no, we always are so, you know, like there are certain levels where you need to also step back and focus on what you want to do, because some kids use that to say that the reason why I'm not passing is because of this. But at the same time, there's an A student who has a bigger problem than you. How are they doing it? You know, that's what I'm talking about, to say that you need to limit what really affects you. Oh, that's why we're saying go back to professionals for those kind of things on how to deal with each and everything.
Okay, so it's not your problem, but just don't go,
Yes.
don't submerge into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Those are such wonderful insights that we got, and I think it illustrates how complex mental health issues are. And you know, I wish we had all day to go further into this discussion, but unfortunately we don't. But hopefully these insights will spark conversation amongst people and create a space for dialogue, hopefully healing as well. We wish we could go deeper into this, but I really, really do appreciate those insights, especially from two different, you know, perspectives of a young person. And Usisi Dobozo, you know, who's actually worked as in the space of coaching these young people. I just wanted to say thank you so much for
you.
coming and joining us. Thank you so much for your wonderful insights that you've shared with us. This was really a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much to Usas Martha for initiating this, starting this, and actually linking us all together. I just wanted to say that, you know, it's just the beginning in terms of, you know, our fight against mental health problems. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.